With so many Gen 3 style paddle releases this year, it's easy for them to blend together, but the Franklin C45 paddles stood out to me from the rest and have quickly become my favorite Gen 3 paddles that I've played to date. Let's dive in. Hey, this is Braden with Pickleball Effect. Today we're reviewing the Franklin C45 series. Franklin released a hybrid 14mm version earlier this year, but just expanded the series to include elongated and wide body shapes in both the 14 and 16mm options, though for whatever reason, there's still no 16mm in the hybrid shape. What makes these paddles unique is their responsive medium plush impact feel and ability to shape the ball so well compared to other Gen 3 paddles. The 14mm options in particular are the best feeling Gen 3 14 paddles that I've come across. Thanks to Franklin for sending me these paddles. However, this video is not sponsored by them and all opinions shared here are my own to help you find the best paddle for your game. However, if you do decide to pick one up, these retail for $230 and you can use my code PBEffect on Franklin's website for a discount and to help support my channel. So for this review, I'll quickly go over the construction and specs, then share my performance review and recommendation. So at first glance, these paddles look very similar to other Gen 3 designs when viewed in an X-ray. You can see the extra foam around the head, very similar to the diving board style that we see on the YOLO 3S and many others. But what sets Franklin apart is their use of what they call double thermoforming. So first they thermoform the individual panels to bond the polymer core and face sheets, then they cut the paddle from the panel and thermoform the paddle again to add the foam and finalize the structure. I've never seen this approach before, but it results in a more pleasant impact feel compared to other Gen 3 style paddles that I'm really drawn to. So in terms of shapes, the series comes in a wide body called the Tempo, which has a shorter 5-inch handle. Then there's a hybrid, also called the Hybrid, and there are elongated shape called the Dynasty, both with longer 5.6-inch handles. And here are the numbers on the paddles. So the Tempo 14 and 16 both have very light swing weights of 105. The average for wide bodies is generally closer to 110, so these definitely lean light, though they still maintain decent twist weights of 6.34 and 6.53. Because they're so light, they really need some customization out of the box, which I'll touch on later. The Hybrid is also very lightweight with a 106 swing weight and a lower twist weight of 5.6. On the other hand, the elongated Dynasty paddles both have swing weights of 117 and twist weights of 5.9, more in line with what you'd expect from elongated shapes, though still on the lighter side for elongated paddles. The numbers give a good sense of how the paddles move and their relative size of their sweet spots. Out of the box, they're fast with decent, though not exceptional sweet spots, but their lightweight nature is part of what makes them so fun. They respond incredibly well to adding weight, letting you customize them to your exact preferences. It's a player's paddle and a tinkerer's dream, so I'll share my favorite setups later on. Let's talk paddle performance now. So out of the box, the paddles are these all-court style paddles that are lightweight with okay sweet spots. But once you customize them with some tungsten tape, they enter the power category, and depending on how much and where you add the weight, generally speaking, with weight added, they're gonna fall into the lower to mid power category. Weighted up, the power and pop are both good, like you'd expect from a Gen 3 style paddle. The power is comparable to the 11624 Power series, but with a bit more pop that's comparable to the Gearbox Ultimate paddles. Comparing the total firepower level of these to other popular power paddles, I'd put the Rhombus Ripple series as number 1, followed by the YOLO Pro 4 series, Paddletech Bantams, then the Franklin C45s, and the 11624 Power series. The sweet spot will vary depending on where you add weight, but if you focus it on the sides and corners, then you're going to get a great sweet spot that is easy to work with on any of these models. I love the customization aspect of these paddles. Not all paddles respond this well to adding weight, and as a total paddle nerd, it's so fun tinkering with the different setups to see what best works for my game. Aside from how easily they can be customized, the other standout features of these paddles are their impact feel and impressive spin. They have this medium plush, crisp, and responsive feel that's noticeably more comfortable and easier to dial in compared to the hollower, stiffer feel of most Gen 3 style paddles. Then that feel is consistent across both the 16 and 14mm options, which makes the 14mm version especially appealing since they don't have that overly firm, solid feel that's typical of Gen 3 paddles in that thickness. While some players do prefer a stiffer, firmer paddle, in my experience most gravitate towards something more comfortable like these. They're not as plush as a traditional control paddle, but they do strike a nice balance, offering a crisp, responsive feel without veering into that overly stiff or hollow territory. The spin and ball shaping of these paddles was so impressive. These days, it's tough to stand out in the spin category since most modern paddles offer solid spin performance, but these managed to do just that. I noticed the ball dipping more than usual in play, and my spin test backed it up. The Dynasty 14mm in particular delivered the highest numbers, averaging over 2,050 RPMs, a mark that I've only seen from a handful of paddles in my database of over 300. Comparing the level of control these paddles offer to the ones I mentioned before, I'd put the C45s as number one because they have the nice feel and aren't overly poppy, and then have the spin you need to tame the power that they give you. Then the 11624 Power Series comes at number 2, followed by the Yola Pro 4s, Rhombus Ripple, and then the Paddletech Bantams. Before I dive into the weight setups I liked, let's quickly touch on the differences between the 16 and 14mm options. These two play more similar than most 16 and 14mm pairings. The feel and power output aren't drastically different, but the 16s do tend to carry through the ball a bit better, offer slightly more forgiveness, and produce higher launch angles. The 14s on the other hand are slightly less forgiving, have lower launch angles, and benefit more from added weight to improve their ability to drive through the ball. Now here are my favorite setups with each of these paddles. So for the Dynasty 14, I have 3.5 inches of half-gram tungsten on the bottom corners to add stability, and then another 1.5 inches of half-gram higher on the side because it needed just a little bit extra weight to carry through the ball better. This changed the static weight to 8.2 ounces, swing weight to 119, and twist weight to 6.44. For the Dynasty 16, I had 3.5 inches of the half-gram on the bottom corners to improve the stability, which changed the static weight to 8.1 ounces, swing weight to 118, and then twist weight to 6.3. For the hybrid, I have 3 inches of 1-gram tungsten starting just above the bottom corners, and then 3 inches of half-gram tape on the top 2 corners. This changed the swing weight to 114 with a twist weight of 6.6 and a static weight of 8.1 ounces. For the Tempo 14, I have 3.5 inches of half-gram on the bottom corner and 3 inches of the half-gram on top. This changed the static weight to 8.2 ounces, swing weight to 108, and twist weight to 6.9. I messed around with adding more weight to this one, but felt it was very stable here and kept it super good maneuverability. For the Tempo 16, I also have 3.5 inches of the half-gram on the bottom corners, but only 2 inches of half-gram on the top, and didn't quite need as much weight on the top corners because the thicker core carried it through the ball better and more naturally than the 14. This changed the static weight to 8.2 ounces, swing weight to 108, and twist weight to 7.04. If you've played with these before and found a different setup that you like, please share it in the comments, and I'll also add a link to the tungsten tape I used in the description if you want to pick that up as well. As for my recommendation, I really enjoyed how these paddles played. They offer a uniquely attractive feel for Gen 3 style paddles, and I especially love how well they respond to customization, allowing you to tailor the setup to your preferences. With added weight, they fall into that lower to mid power category, which is a great spot for players who want more power while maintaining some feel and control. Plus, the variety of shapes and thicknesses available makes it easier to find the right fit for your game. Personally, I'd choose these over other Gen 3 paddles because I felt more connected to them and I love the spin and shape I could generate. However, if you're not willing to tinker with customization, then these aren't for you. And if you're looking for maximum power in a paddle, then you're going to find more power in the Yola Pro 4s and the Rhombus Ripple series. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and I'm happy to dive deeper where needed. Let me know what you want me to review next month. Thanks for watching and I hope it helped.
Looks very used. This is good. Wow, he really tested that.
Yeah, he did.